Philadelphia, 1726. A 20-year-old printer sits alone by candlelight. Around him, ink-stained workbenches, wooden-type blocks, the smell of fresh paper. He has just returned from London. No money, no printing press, no established reputation. What he has is a notebook. And in that notebook, he is writing something that will quietly shape the rest of his life. Not a business plan, not a political manifesto, a list. 13 words. Each one a standard he intends to hold himself to. Every day for the rest of his life. To understand why Franklin built this system, you have to understand what he saw when he looked honestly at himself. He conceived what he called, in his own words, the bold and arduous project of arriving at moral perfection. He wrote, "I wish to live without committing any fault at any time. I would conquer all that either natural inclination, custom, or company might lead me into." He was 20 years old, ambitious, brilliant, and by his own account, eating too much, talking too much, and spending too much. But here is what separates Franklin from every other person who ever made a list of good intentions. He did not trust himself to simply try harder. He understood something that behavioral science would spend the next 300 years confirming. Willpower alone is not a system, and without a system, even the best intentions fail by Tuesday. So he built a system. Franklin's list contained 13 virtues. He chose 13 deliberately, not too few to be trivial, not so many as to be unmanageable. And he wrote a short precept for each one, not abstract philosophy, operational instructions. Virtue 1, temperance. Eat not to dullness, drink not to elevation. Franklin placed this first. A clear head was the foundation for everything else. Virtue 2, silence. Speak not but what may benefit others or yourself. Avoid trifling conversation. He had learned in the printing trade that words had weight and consequence. Virtue 3, order. Let all your things have their places. Let each part of your business have its time. This was, by his own admission, his most difficult virtue. He struggled with it his entire life. Virtue 4, resolution. Resolve to perform what you ought. Perform without fail what you resolve. The commitment to follow through, not just intend. Virtue 5, frugality. Make no expense but to do good to others or yourself. Waste nothing. Not deprivation, intentionality. Every dollar had to earn its spending. Virtue 6, industry. Lose no time. Be always employed in something useful. Cut off all unnecessary actions. He worked constantly, but he worked on things that mattered. Virtue 7, sincerity. Use no hurtful deceit. Think innocently and justly. And if you speak, speak accordingly. Virtue 8, justice. Wrong none by doing injuries or omitting the benefits that are your duty. Not just avoiding harm, actively fulfilling obligations. Virtue 9, moderation. Avoid extremes. Forbear resenting injuries so much as you think they deserve. Temperance for the emotions, not just the appetite. Virtue 10, cleanliness. Tolerate no uncleanliness in body, clothes, or habitation. Virtue 11, tranquility. Be not disturbed at trifles or at accidents common or unavoidable. The Stoic principle, distinguish what you can control from what you cannot. Virtue 12, chastity. Virtue 13, humility. Imitate Jesus and Socrates, the shortest precept. Added last, Franklin said a Quaker friend told him he was often overbearing. He took it seriously. 13 virtues, 1 page, 1 life. Now here's the part that separates Franklin's approach from every vague self-improvement resolution ever made. He wrote, "My intention being to acquire the habitude of all these virtues, I judged it would be well not to distract my attention by attempting the whole at once, but to fix it on one of them at a time. 1 virtue, 1 week." He would focus every conscious effort for 7 days on a single virtue, while still trying to maintain the others. After 13 weeks, he would begin again. He ran this cycle 4 times per year, every year, for most of his adult life. And every evening, this is the part that makes the system work. Franklin sat down with his notebook and asked himself a single question. Did I slip today? Not how did I feel about it. A factual, measurable question. Did I violate this standard today, yes or no? If yes, he marked a small black dot. His goal was simple. Fewer dots, clearer columns, not perfection, undeniable progress. Franklin never achieved perfection. He said so himself, clearly without embarrassment. He wrote, "Though I never arrived at the perfection I had been so ambitious of obtaining, but fell far short of it, yet I was, by the endeavor, a better and a happier man than I otherwise should have been if I had not attempted it." And he told a story, one of the most honest passages in any autobiography ever written. A man asked a blacksmith to polish his axe until the whole surface shone as bright as the edge. The work was hard. The man grew tired. He suggested he might take the axe as it was, speckled. "I think I like a speckled axe best," the man said. Franklin understood the lesson immediately. A spotted axe is still an axe, and a spotted axe that cuts wood is more valuable than a polished one hanging on the wall. The perfectionist doesn't start. The person who accepts that the axe will be speckled, but insists on swinging it every day, builds the life. Franklin understood this at 20. He lived it until 84. Here is what most people miss about Franklin's virtues. They read the list as a moral exercise. Franklin understood it as an economic one. Frugality and industry were not just good for the soul. They were, in his words, the means of procuring wealth and obtaining credit. He understood that character was not separate from success. It was the infrastructure of success. The person who wastes nothing, loses no time, follows through on every commitment, speaks truthfully, and avoids extremes. That person does not need luck. They build a life that attracts opportunity. By the time Franklin was 42, he had achieved enough financial independence to retire from his printing business entirely. He spent the second half of his life inventing the lightning rod, founding the first public library in America, serving as diplomat to France, and helping draft the Constitution. He didn't do these things despite his virtues. He did them because of them. The frugality that felt like discipline at 20 became freedom at 42. The industry that felt like effort became legacy. Franklin's system is 300 years old. It runs on candlelight and quill. It requires no app, no subscription, no algorithm. It requires only this: a piece of paper, a pen, and the willingness to ask yourself every evening whether you lived up to your own standard. Here is how to begin. Step 1. Write 3 to 5 virtues that matter to you. Not 13, not yet. Virtues that are real problems for you, not aspirational decorations. If you waste time, write industry. If you spend carelessly, write frugality. If you lose your temper, write tranquility. Write the ones that cost you something when you fail them. Step 2. Choose one. Focus on it this week. Track every day, not all of them. 1. Every evening, open the notebook. Ask the question, did I slip today? Mark it honestly. Watch the pattern. The pattern is the teacher. Step 3. Next week, the next virtue. Benjamin Franklin arrived in Philadelphia at 17 with nothing. He ran from his brother's print shop in Boston. He spent 18 months in London with no money and no printing press. He came back to Philadelphia in 1726 and sat down at a desk with a candle and a notebook and decided deliberately who he was going to become. He didn't wish for it. He didn't intend it. He built it. One virtue, 1 week, 1 dot at a time. 300 years later, the system still works. Not because Benjamin Franklin was exceptional, because the system is honest about what we are. Creatures of habit, not intention. And habits are built 1 week at a time. This is Potentia, where power needs no introduction.